Good morning. In the previous slide video, we already seen about adulteration and different types of adulteration like sophistication, then spoilage, deterioration, admixture, etc. So some terms and some definitions we already studied in the previous slide. And also you got an idea regarding the introduction part about adulteration as well as different types of adulteration. So now in this video, you are going to see about different methods of adulteration. So here some 7 or 8 methods are there for adulteration. And regarding your exam point of view, and this question will be asked for a 5-mark thing. Okay, so in that case you have to write the entire thing what you are studying here with your possible references. Okay. So now we can say about the different methods used for adulteration. Some 7 or 8 methods are there. So the first one is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. Substitution with inferior commercial varieties. Okay. So എന്താണെന്നുള്ള കാര്യം ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് പിന്നീട് നമുക്ക് കാണാം. That is the first one, that is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. Second thing is adulteration by artificially manufactured substances. So here we are manufacturing the substances artificially, and these artificially manufactured substances will be used as adulterants. Clear? So now the third thing is substitution by exhausted drug. Exhausted drugs എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിനകത്തുള്ള സാധനങ്ങൾ എടുത്തിട്ട് ബാക്കി വരുന്ന സാധനം അതിനാണ് exhausted drug എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Substitution by exhausted drug, that's the third method. Now the fourth method is substitution by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. So അതായത് ഒരെണ്ണത്തിന്റെ suppose you are using A as a drug, and in that case so you are adding B. This B also looks similar to A, but this B is not having any chemical constituent or any medicinal use of A. But we are using this cheap natural substance, that is B as adulterant for A. So that is the fourth one, substitution by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. Clear? Now the fifth one is adulteration by addition of worthless heavy metals. So നമ്മുടെ അരിയിൽ കല്ലിടുന്ന പരിപാടിയൊക്കെയാണ്. So here that's fifth one, that is adulteration by addition of worthless heavy materials. Clear? Now the sixth one is addition of synthetic principle. So in case of natural substances, if you are adding some synthetic substances, then this is this type of adulteration. So here addition of synthetic principles. Now the seventh one is use of vegetative matter from the same plant. Suppose if you are using tuber as an as a drug, and in that case along with tuber if you are adding some amount of stem also, then that's an adulteration, and this is use of vegetative matter from the same plant. So these are the 7 different methods used for adulteration. So altogether 7 methods are there. So the first one is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. So that's the first one, substitution with inferior commercial varieties. And the second one is adulteration by artificially manufactured substances. So here we are manufacturing the substances artificially, and this is the second type of adulteration, that is adulteration by artificially manufactured substances. Then the third one is substitution by exhausted drug, means druginagathulla സാധനങ്ങൾ എടുത്തതിനു ശേഷം ബാക്കി വരുന്നത്, that is substitution by exhausted drug. Then the fourth one is substitution by similar, superficially similar but cheap natural substances. So here means by look, means by the first sight both the substances look similar but it is inferior. So that type of adulteration is known as substitution by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. Now the fifth one is adulteration by addition of worthless heavy materials. So for increasing the weight of a substance, if you are adding anything heavy, then that type of adulteration is coming under this class, that is adulteration by addition of worthless heavy materials. Now the sixth one is adulteration or addition of synthetic principle. So here we are studying about natural products, and if for natural products some synthetic substances are added, then that type of adulteration is coming under this class, that is addition of synthetic principle. And now the seventh one is usage of vegetative matter from the same plant. So instead of a particular part of a plant, if you are adding some other vegetative part of the same plant, then that type of adulteration is coming under this category, that is usage of vegetative matter from the same plant. So these are the 7 different methods used for adulteration. Okay, so in the detail. So the first one is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. Clear? So here, due to the morphological resemblance to the authentic drug. So drugs, you already knowing that majority of them are obtained from plant sources, and due to the similarity in the morphological resemblance or morphological appearance with the authentic drug, different inferior commercial varieties are used as adulterants. Okay, so due to the morphological resemblance to the authentic drug, sometimes different inferior commercial varieties are used as adulterants, and this may or may not have any chemical or therapeutic potential as that of the original natural drug. So here original natural drug is a thing which we have to use, and instead of that original natural drug, due to their morphological similarity, if you are adding some inferior commercial varieties, then that type of adulteration is this one, that is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. And this inferior commercial varieties may or may not have any chemical or therapeutic potential as that of the original drug. Clear? Now, so here the common example is Arabian senna and dog senna have been used as adulterant to senna. Senna is an Indian variety. Okay, so senna is mainly cultivated in southern parts of India, and this drug is having great amount of anthraquinone glycosides. Okay, so and instead of this senna is Cassia senna. So Cassia angustifolia or Cassia auriculata, that is the original name of senna. And instead of this senna, if you are adding any type of Arabian senna or dog senna, that is Cassia obovata, then this is coming under this category of adulteration, that is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. So here Arabian senna and dog senna can be used as adulteration or means adulterant for senna, Indian senna. Okay. And the second example is Japanese ginger. The botanical name of Japanese ginger is Zingiber miyoga, and it is used as adulterant for medicinal ginger, that is Zingiber officinale. Zingiber officinale is the actual ginger or the medicinal ginger, and this thing can be adulterated with Japanese ginger, that is Zingiber miyoga. Both of them were having morphological similarity, but this Zingiber miyoga or Japanese ginger lacks in chemical constituent which is already present in Zingiber officinale. So that is about the substitution with inferior commercial varieties. So due to the morphological resemblance to the authentic drugs, different inferior commercial varieties can or are used as adulterants, and this may or may not have any chemical or therapeutic potential as that of the original drug, natural drug. So example is, so Indian senna, that is Cassia senna, is adulterated with Arabian senna and dog senna. Okay. Second example is Zingiber officinale, that is a medicinal ginger, and this thing can be adulterated with the help of Japanese ginger. Okay, so that is about the first method of adulteration, that is substitution with inferior commercial varieties. Okay, so now we can say about the second one, that is adulteration by artificially manufactured substances. So from the name itself, so here the substances which we are using as adulterants are artificially manufactured. So that is adulteration by artificially manufactured substances. So here means in order to provide the general form and appearance of various drugs. So means in order to provide general form as well as appearance of various drugs, some materials are artificially manufactured and they are used as a substituent for the original drug. So adulteration ചെയ്യണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതുപോലെ similarity ഉണ്ടാവണമല്ലോ. So in order to get the general form as well as appearance of the various drugs, some materials are artificially manufactured and they are used as substituent for the original drugs. Clear? So here the common example is artificial invert sugar in the case of honey. So this honey is a natural substance and it is costly also. In order to adulterate this honey, so we are manufacturing artificial invert sugar. This is having similarity with that of honey, but it lacks in the originality, means it lacks in the quality of honey. But this artificially manufactured invert sugar can be used as adulterant for honey. Clear? So that's the first example. And second example is paraffin wax. After yellow coloration can be substituted for beeswax. So here beeswax is a natural substance, and in order to adulterate this beeswax, so we have to take paraffin wax and after adding some yellow coloration, and this paraffin wax can be used as adulterant for beeswax. Clear? That's about the second type of adulteration. So that is adulteration by artificially manufactured substituents. So in order to provide the general form as well as appearance of various drugs, that is natural drugs, so here some material should be manufactured artificially, and this artificially manufactured substances can be used as substituent of the original drug. So example is Means honey can be adulterated or substituted with artificial invert sugar. Okay. Now the second thing is paraffin wax after adding some yellow coloration, and it can be substituted for beeswax. Clear? So that's about the second type of adulteration or second method of adulteration. So first one already completed, and second method of adulteration is adulteration by artificially manufactured substituents. Clear? About the third method of adulteration, that is substitution by exhausted drug. So here the term exhausted means the drug is already exhausted, or the active constituent from the drug is already taken and the remaining thing is used as adulterant. അങ്ങനെയുള്ളതിനെയാണ് substitution by exhausted drugs എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Clear? So here the same plant material is used which is having no active medicinal components. So here the active medicinal components have already been extracted out. Suppose if a plant is having some active medicinal component, and if you are taking the active component from that plant and using that material as an adulterant, then that type is coming under this category, that is substitution by exhausted drugs. So here the same plant material is used and it is not having any active medicinal component because we already taken or extracted that active component from the plant material. Okay, so that type of adulteration is known as substitution by exhausted drug. And here this practice is more common or most common in the case of drugs which containing volatile oil. So volatile oil containing drugs, example clove, phenyl, etc. So in the case of clove and phenyl, if you are extracting the volatile oil from this, then also the morphological similarity is there. That is, it does not have any change in the morphology even after taking the volatile oil from clove, phenyl, etc. And again, after taking this volatile oil, this can be sold as original drug. So this is the third type of adulteration, that is substitution by exhausted drugs. Okay, so here the same plant material is used and it does not have any active medicinal component because we already extracted the active medicinal component present in that original plant drug. Clear? And this practice is most common in the case of volatile oil containing drugs like clove, phenyl, etc. Clove എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഗ്രാമ്പു, phenyl, ജീരകം. So ഇതിന്റെ ഓയിൽ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാലും അതിന്റെ മോർഫോളജി അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാകും, അതിന് യാതൊരു ചേഞ്ചും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. So we can again use this clove, phenyl, etc. And this is the third different type of adulteration, that is substitution by exhausted drug material. Clear? Now we can say, means, so till now we already seen about three different types of or three different methods of adulteration. So അത് ഏതൊക്കെയാണെന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഓർമ്മ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. So അതിൽ third method substitution by exhausted drugs ആയിരുന്നു. You can say about the fourth method, that is substitution by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. So first നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ച കണക്ക് തന്നെ അതുമായിട്ട് സിമിലാരിറ്റി വരുന്ന ഒരു സംഭവം തന്നെയാണ് ഇവിടെയുള്ളത്. So here substitution is by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. Okay, so usually here the adulterated product has not have, means it's not having, means usually here the adulterated product is not having any relation with the genuine drug. Okay, and it may or may not have any therapeutic or chemical component desired. Okay, so every plant material, if you are using as drug, it will be having some chemical constituent and also it is having some medicinal value. And here in this case the adulterated product does not have any relation with the genuine article and it may or may not have any therapeutic or chemical component desired. Clear? Okay, now example എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ leaves of certain species. So ailanthus leaves can be used as substituent for belladonna. So this belladonna is tropine alkaloid containing plant and it is having atropine as well as other tropine alkaloid. And in here, this if you are substituting this belladonna with ailanthus, so here this ailanthus leaf is also having some similarity with this belladonna, but it lacks in the chemical constituent. So this is an example. And second thing is senna, mint, etc. So here also the leaves can be substituted after changing this ailanthus species. So this ailanthus can be used as substituent for belladonna, senna, mint, etc. And this is a fourth different type of adulteration or different method of adulteration. And then substitution by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. Clear? So here usually the adulterated product has not having any relationship with the genuine article, and here it may or may not have any therapeutic or chemical component of the desired nature. And the common example is leaf of certain species, that is ailanthus, can be used used as substituent for belladonna, senna, mint, etc. Okay, so this leaves can be substituted with the former leaf. But the former one is lacking in chemical as well as therapeutic property, but it is having some similarity in their morphology. Clear? So because of that, we are substituting this leaf with the other one. So this is a 4 different type of adulteration. And also, this next example is leaves of Phytolacca and Scopolia for belladonna. So this belladonna, we already told that it is having tropane alkaloid. This can further be adulterated with Phytolacca as well as Scopolia. Okay, so this is another example of substitution by superficially similar but cheap natural substances. So till now we already studied about 4 different types of adulteration. In example, so leaf of Xanthium. Xanthium leaves can be used as adulterant for stramonium as well as dandelion for henbane, etc. So this henbane is having medicinal value and this can be substituted with the help of dandelion. Okay, likewise, xanthium leaves can be used as substituent for stramonium, etc. So these are the common examples of substitution by superficially similar but cheaper natural substances. Clear? Suppose we summarize here. So here the adulterated product does not have any relation with the genuine article and it may or may not have any therapeutic or chemical component of desired nature. An example is leaves of certain species like ailanthus are substituted for belladonna, senna, mint, etc. Then Phytolacca and Scopolia can be used as substituent for belladonna. Then leaves of xanthium can be used as substituent for stramonium and leaves of dandelion can be used as substituent for henbane. Clear? So, Indian dill can be substituted with European dill or caraway, etc. Okay. So, Indian dill is having medicinal value and this can be substituted with the help of European dill as well as caraway. Caraway is also having some medicinal value, but on comparing with this Indian dill, the active constant, nature of active constant is far different in caraway. But this can be substituted as Indian dill. This is costly. Indian dill is costly. This one is comparatively cheaper with Indian dill. Okay, so this can be used as adulterant. So that is about the different types of adulteration. Now you can see about the next one, that is adulteration by addition of worthless heavy materials. So here from the term itself, the heavy material what we are adding here are worthless because it does not have any value. Heavy materials on the weight കൂട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടി ചെയ്യുന്ന adulteration by addition of worthless heavy materials എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Clear? Okay. So here a large mass of stone can be mixed with liquorized root. So liquorized you already knowing ഇരട്ടി മധുരം എന്ന് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയും. So this is having medicinal value and it is having some sort of cost also. In some amount is also there for this liquorized root. Okay, so for increasing the weight of this liquorized root, so we are adding a large mass of stone. Okay, so then pieces of limestones in Asafoetida. So this Asafoetida is a naturally obtaining product, and it is obtained from the root of a plant. It is a resinous product and that is obtained from the root of a plant, and this is very costly. And in order to adulterate this Asafoetida, we can add limestone pieces. Okay, so limestone pieces can be found in Asafoetida. Then opium poppy, it is a contraband drug, and also this opium poppy is costly also. So this can be adulterated with the help of lead shots. So this lead എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഈയത്തിന്റെ balls ആണ് lead shot. Lead shot is not having any medicinal value. Instead, it is toxic also, and this lead shots can be used as adulterant for opium poppy. So this is the adulteration by addition of worthless heavy material. So here a large mass of stone can be mixed with liquorized root. Then pieces of limestones can be used as adulterant for Asafoetida, and also lead shot can be used as adulterant for opium poppy, etc. So that is about the fifth type of adulteration. അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ 5 എണ്ണം ഇതുവരെ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. Now we can see about the sixth type of adulteration. So or sixth method of adulteration, that is addition of synthetic principles. Addition of synthetic principle. Clear? So here sometimes to fortify inferior natural products, synthetic materials are added. So natural products, if you are keeping it for a long period of time, then it may get deteriorated. So in order to fortify that natural product, sometimes some artificially manufactured synthetic substances are prepared and they are added along with this natural product, and in that case the natural products can be fortified. And the quality on the improve ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. So that is sometimes to fortify inferior natural products, synthetic principles are added. Okay, Sometimes to fortify inferior natural products, synthetic principles were added. So here the common example is adding of citral to oil of lemon. Lemon oil is a natural product and this is costly also. So in order to fortify the quality of lemon oil, citral can be synthesized artificially and this can be added along with the lemon oil for improving the quality of lemon. Okay, so adding of citral to lemon oil. Likewise, balsam of Peru, it is a resinous substance. Balsam of Peru is a resinous substance and that is also costly. And this balsam of Peru can be fortified by adding benzyl benzoate. So balsam of Peru can be fortified by adding benzyl benzoate. So this is an example of addition of synthetic principles. So here sometimes to fortify inferior natural products, synthetic principles were added along with the naturally occurring substance. So the common example is adding of citral to the oil of lemon oil. So with lemon oil, if you are adding citral and also along with the balsam of Peru, by adding benzyl benzoate, it can be fortified. So now we already studied about 6 different types of or different methods of adulteration. Now we can see about the last method of adulteration, that is use of vegetative matter from the same plant. So drugs we already studied that. So if you are taking a plant drug, only one or two part of the plant is having some sort of medicinal value. For example, if leaves are using, then this leaf will be having the medicinal value, and if stems are using, then stems will be having. And likewise, if tubers were used, then tubers alone will be having some medicinal value as well as the therapeutically important chemical constituents. And in that case, if you are adding some other part of the plant, then that type of adulteration is known as usage of vegetative material or matter from the same plant. Clear? So this is done by mixing the adventitious matter or naturally occurring substances with the drug in excess amount or part of plant other than that which constitutes a drug. So you already knowing that from a plant, one or two parts can be used as drug, and if along with the part which we are using as drug, if we are adding some other parts of the same plant, then that type of adulteration is coming under this category, that is usage of vegetative matter from the same plant. Clear? And this can be done by mixing adventitious matters or naturally occurring substances with a drug in excessive amount or parts of plant other than that which constitute the drug. Clear? Here the common example is liverworts and epiphytes growing in bark portion can be mixed with the cascara and cinchona. So this cascara bark as well as cinchona bark is having high medicinal value. In fact, the cinchona is used as anti-malarial drug and it is having high medicinal value. In order to increase the weight of the cinchona bark, if you are adding liverworts as well as epiphytes growing in the bark portion, some fungus means fungus or some parasites which are growing on the bark portion of cinchona can be taken along with this one, and that is coming under this type of adulteration. Now then the second example is stems of bakku are sometimes cut into short lengths and added to the drug. ബക്കു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു പ്ലാന്റ് ഉണ്ട്, അതിന്റെ സ്റ്റെംസിനെ ചെറുതായിട്ട് കട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അതിനെയും ഡ്രഗിന്റെ കൂടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുക, അതെല്ലാമാണ് യൂസ് ഓഫ് വെജിറ്റേറ്റീവ് മാറ്റർ ഫ്രം ദ സെയിം പ്ലാന്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. That is about the different types or different methods of adulteration of crude drug. So here we already studied about 7 different methods of adulteration. Clear? So അതാണ് 5 മാർക്ക് സാധാരണ ചോദിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ളത്. So this chapter is over, this unit is over, and here you have to study what is adulteration. So in the adulteration, it is a practice of substituting a original drug wholly or partially with similar looking inferior commercial varieties. So what is the purpose of adulteration? The main purpose of adulteration is profit motive. And why you are doing this adulteration? So when means 3 reasons are there. One, costly, then contraband drugs, and sometimes the availability is very less. Clear? So main motive behind adulteration is profit. Then you already studied about certain terms like admixture, then spoilage, sophistication, substitution, deterioration, etc. Then in this video, you already studied about the 7 different methods used for adulteration. So that is about this chapter. Okay, so thank you.